Now, Northwest Arkansas has a continuum of care,
Yeah.
which I like that phrase because I think it expresses this idea that hey, there's a whole wide range of approaches that need to take place here, and there may even be some type of process that people kind of move through. That continuum
Yeah.
of care is all about different organizations cooperating and complementing each other in the services that are provided. So rather than there being a bunch of redundancy where everybody's trying to fix the same problem, I mean ultimately we are trying to address the same predicament in ending homelessness in Northwest Arkansas, but doing that in a variety of different ways. This is a 6-lane highway, right? Like that we're going down there, and everybody's got different lanes. And so talk a little bit about like when people think of services that are provided for homeless folks, they might think New Beginnings, they might think Salvation Army, they might think Seven Hills, they might think about a food pantry. These are all very different organizations addressing things in very different ways because they're at different points in the continuum of care. Am I thinking about that correctly?
Yeah, you're definitely on the right track because the continuum of care is, think of it like a platform that supports collaboration among all the entities that provide services for folks who don't have housing. And so in that kind of collaboration, you want some services to be focused on people that haven't even become homeless yet.
Hmm.
There's people in our community paying 50
Yeah.
and 60% of their income each month on their rent, and they are
Yeah.
at risk of homelessness. When one of them gets an eviction notice and they don't have family to go to for help and they don't have a church community that might pitch in, you want a service that goes, hey, we can help prevent your eviction. We can help prevent your homelessness. That's part of the continuum of care. And then other pieces in the collaboration need to respond to people who have literally lost their home already. They're in their car, they're on the street. So we need to do street outreach to connect people to services. We need to have low barrier housing focused shelters where people can stay for a few weeks or a few months while they piece things back together. And then we need those services that help chronically homeless folks get into supportive housing where it's affordable and there's ongoing services. And then what's key is that all these different services are coordinated. So what you do in a continuum of care is you try to maintain a shared list of names
Hmm.
that we've all made contact with, and we go, no matter which front door you came into, your information is going on one shared list of names of people who need housing. And part of getting on that list is a brief assessment to find out like how intense are your support needs? How long have you been homeless? What kind of health issues do you have? What kind of legal issues are you dealing with? Uh, what's your support system look like? And so based on your answers to those questions, we get an idea for, would a short-term rehousing program be best for you? Or are you going to need those longer term housing supports? So when we coordinate all those services, we don't duplicate work with the same
Mm-hmm.
people. We share information. Uh, we make sure that people aren't having to chase down and apply 20 different places for 20
Hmm.
different opportunities.
Hmm.
We have like a regional response that is coordinated and able to be efficient with the resources that we have. And it's true, we don't have enough resources, right? There are too many folks who need help with eviction prevention, and too many folks still unsheltered on the street, and too many folks with disabilities that we haven't created permanent housing with support for. But the resources we do have, we want to be coordinated in this collaborative way so it's as effective as we can be.
Yeah. When we think about this kind of collaborative approach and different groups having different specialties, um, it seems to me, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to me from what I know that groups like the Salvation Army, for instance, or Seven Hills, for instance, they're helping those folks that are in the situational, episodic homeless crisis right now. They're providing temporary shelter. They're providing some help getting utilities paid, getting people back into their home, back into homes, like that kind of stuff. It seems like that's what they're doing. And New Beginnings is addressing a a different population, helping a different group of people, those who fall in the chronically homeless bucket,
Mhm.
recognizing that they have a completely different set of needs.
Yeah, I think in general terms, you're right. I think that there are strong programs that are focused on the people who need that quick hand up, getting back in a job, getting through a situation. And it's not exclusively situationally homeless folks that walk
Mm-hmm.
in the door at Salvation Army or Seven Hills, but most of their programs are designed to be most effective with situationally homeless folks. One of the reasons we opened New Beginnings 3.5 years ago was you talk to people in the camps and you ask them, why are you not going to shelter? Why have you not got help in the last 4 or 5 years I've known you? Why haven't you found a way back into housing? And we designed New Beginnings from the ground up in collaboration with those very people to say, hey, we are really needing a place that we think is more safe, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
the cabins at New Beginnings have a key, and the resident has the only key. You know, there's a backup key, of course, but they have a key to lock their door and feel safe at night. And they have a key to lock the door and keep their stuff safe when they're gone working on stuff during the day. And they're not having to share with other people because sometimes folks with serious mental health issues or behavioral health issues really struggle to sleep in congregate sleeping
Mm.
environments. So they wanted that privacy. People told us we wanted more safety. People told us they want to be able to have their pet that they've been their best companion for the last 5 years and sleeps in the same sleeping bag with them. They want to be able to keep their pet close like that. And so we were able to make some design decisions to accommodate people that could be really hard to accommodate in a more conventional shelter environment. And through that process, we found that all of the people in that circumstance said, we also want to be, we're good at things. We want to contribute. We don't want to just be taken care of. And so one of our commitments is to do things with people, not for people.
Mm.
So the people that stay at New Beginnings get to run the place as much as possible. They have a team that cleans the kitchen. They have a team that cleans the bathroom. They have a team that does recycling and trash. We won the Green Award last year in the city of Fayetteville for recycling our food scraps that
Mm.
then comes back to us in our garden. We have a free compost from the city to grow our incredible garden. So the people that live there really do the work
Mm.
of taking care of the neighborhood. You
Yeah.
got to create rules that work for everyone and compromise with everyone. And then every week, each person that stays there has a one-on-one session with our social worker because New Beginnings is great, but it's not real housing.
Mm.
So every person there has a rehousing plan, and they're working with a social worker or a life skills coach and our nurse to get their health stable again, connect to mental health support that they need, figure out their income, whether it's an employment income or a disability income. That's how we kind of help people keep moving forward towards permanent housing after they move out. So we really designed this to fill a gap in our community whose needs are not being met, and how do we design a space that can really support those folks.
Yeah. So you use the word neighborhood, which I know is a part of kind of how New Beginnings describes what it does in terms of developing neighborhoods that end chronic homelessness. Uh, and that it seems like that term is used intentionally to
Yeah.
evoke something about what this is. It's not a shelter; it's a neighborhood. Talk about what that difference, like why that's significant.
Yeah, we love the metaphor of neighborhoods as the answer to homelessness. because you think about a neighborhood, part of it is the actual homes. It's not a neighborhood if there's not, you know, homes or duplexes or apartments. You got to have shelter. That's part of it. But it's bigger than that. A neighborhood implies some kind of community, some connection to other people. And so we think of New Beginnings as kind of a practice neighborhood. Every person that's chronically homeless is on a road, and at the end of that road is a real home in a neighborhood in Fayetteville or in Northwest Arkansas. That's where everyone belongs. And so the place to begin is, the place to stay while you're trying to get your life stable and get your identity documents and connect to healthcare and work on your income. That's kind of a practice neighborhood. And I love seeing people, work together. They've got quiet hours that they enforce. They've got rules about visitors you bring into the neighborhood or how you take care of your pets when you're living in the neighborhood. Every week, we check in on people's home management skills because we're not living in a camp. We're living in a neighborhood. And so we have support around upgrading those home management skills because you're going to live in a real home one day, and the landlord's going to expect you to take care of your home in a good way. So they want to rent to you again the next year and renew your lease. So it's a great kind of metaphor to begin with is we've got to have shelter. We've got to have support when people need support around health and mental health. And then we've got to have community. And the neighborhood really implies all of that.
Yeah.